Well, hey folks, Billy Chili here with another episode of Issues, and I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and watching us on Tuesday nights or whatever time you're watching it. That's the great thing about this show is we never know when it's going to be on. And from what I gather, you chili heads that watch this show early Saturday mornings, like around 1 o'clock, like the show the best. Or at least that's what I hear. Or maybe it's just because you guys are all so posty-toasty that it's funnier than it is when you're straight at 8 o'clock. But anyway, that's all right. We still do this show because we love to do it. And I got nothing but stuff to talk to you about today. I don't know if it's good stuff or bad stuff, but it is certainly stuff, and I'm going to talk about it. Well, if you've been anywhere on the planet in the last couple weeks, you know we've been having the presidential conventions going on so we could decide who are going to be our presidential candidates. And of course, we've had, you already know who's going to be running, don't you? It's like this was no surprise, folks. We did these conventions, and it's more like an Amway convention where they're patting everybody on the back as opposed to picking a candidate. Now, I know at the Republican convention, people got pretty pissed off because they were Ron Paul supporters, and not any time during that entire event did they let his name be mentioned once. Well, now that's what I call segregation. Romney and Romney only, folks. Romney and Romney only. And you know what that means? He's got Paul Ryan as his vice presidential campaign manager, or his vice presidential candidate, I should say. And guess what? This guy is one twisted fuck. He wants to get rid of all social services. He wants to get rid of any programs that'll help people, and he wants to give all the money to the rich. Well, look at that face. Isn't that just a face a mom could love? That's about probably the only person that can love him is his mom. But anyway, how about this, folks? So we got Romney and this jackass, and they're the Republican Party, and they're standing on the platform of, well, black people should be in chains, and women should be pregnant and fat and taking care of the house, and the rich people should be rich, and the rest of you should be slaves. Well, that kind of sounds like the Nazis to me. If I'm not mistaken, that's exactly what the Nazis did. And even before that, the Romans, and before that, the Egyptians. And so that's nothing new in history, folks, what the Republicans are doing. And then, of course, we got Obama. And he's going to be the Democratic campaign person. And you know what? He's supporting all the things that the Republicans supported. And you know what, folks? Many years ago, he said he wasn't going to pursue medical marijuana places. But guess what? They're shutting them down right and left. And that's the feds, folks. That's right. Even though he said that, and he says, oh, well, gays should be able to get married. Well, guess what? They're going to shut that down, too. If you believe anything that he says right now, you're completely out to lunch. But I have to say this. He's still better than Romney. I mean, God, that guy's the biggest loser we got. I mean, if you vote for this guy, we're all completely fucked. But anyway, back to the convention, huh? How about those wives, huh? Well, Mitt Romney's wife was truly impressive at the convention and telling everybody about what a wonderful man Mitt is and how he loves his family and how he's going to be good to the American people. But yet we all know that's a crock. And then Mrs. Obama, Michelle herself, the woman that's out there saying all you slaves are too fat. You can't be good slaves if you're overweight. Eat more broccoli, Obama. Telling how wonderful Barack is and that he's at home with his 2 kids tonight. And isn't that wonderful that they have a home when there's so many people out of homes right now? The homeless people are just, I don't even want to get into it. But yes, that's right, Michelle, you were wonderful. But what really took the cake, folks, was the guest of honor. And at the Republican Party, it was Clint Eastwood. That's right, Mr. Make My Day himself. Oh boy, is he toast or what? Can you believe this guy spewing what he spewed? I just wonder how much money he got paid to put on that little performance. Because he deserves a Grammy, if you ask me. That was one heck of a performance trying to push how wonderful the Republicans are. And then, of course, Obama had Mr. Bill Clinton. Well, you know, a lot of you might have forgotten how wonderful he was getting head from Monica under the table while he was telling the rest of the world to be straight and kind. And he started wars, but he just made sure that nobody knew about the wars. And Oh, yes. And so when he praises the Democrats, people get rallied up, boy. And I tell you, everybody's fired up after he was done. And they were all saying, how's Obama going to top that? Well, Obama wasn't able to top that. And we should just elect Bill Clinton for president again. Don't you think we could be much better times and everybody can have an affair and not have to worry about it? Look, did Hillary leave? Hell no. Anyway, Obama would have done much better, folks. And the Republicans, all they can say is how bad of a job Obama did. Well, you know what? Obama really tried to do stuff, but the House Republicans, that's right, the House Republicans, of all people, shut every plan down. Anything that was going to help us or make a difference, the Republicans shut it down. Why? Well, so they can tell us how bad Obama is today. So I say, once again, award-winning performance by the House Republicans. I mean, this guy, Boehner here, well, he's the biggest drunk there is, and he's lied so many times, he has to go home and get drunk because he can't even live with himself. This guy here, Kantner, well, you know what? He's Hitler reincarnated, folks. If he's still in office and there's a Republican president, Sieg Heil. And this guy over here, McConnell, well, he's pretty much useless, and I think he's going to get voted out of office. But the three of these guys right here, they're pretty much what sabotaged the government for the last 4 years. They stopped everything, and they're still trying to stop things that happened. And, oh, God, well, you know what? It's the voting season, and they've already said that they're out campaigning this election cycle, and they're not going to do a damn thing. No, they ain't going to do shit. You ain't going to do nothing. And you know why this is happening, folks? There's a big plan. They don't want you to vote. They want you to be so fed up that you don't give a shit anymore, and you stay at home. And then, well, you know, why not just have the one imperial leader? You know, that's all it's going to take is just have one leader, and you don't have to vote no more. Just like here at Community TV, you don't get to vote anymore. So do that at home. Just stop voting completely. How's that sound, huh? Well, you know what? Bobby and I were up in San Francisco shooting a movie the other day, and it was a crazy day. And we were outside of the UN building waiting for our turn to get filmed. And, well, by Jove, I think there was stuff going on there. And, you know, the UN was once a great organization after World War II that united all these nations. And, well, we've got some nations in there that are truly wonderful, and nobody listens to them. Like when Ahmadinejad speaks, the people just get up and walk out. Now, this guy here, he's been telling us about how Bush blew up 9/11 towers. He's been telling us about how Israelis plan to dominate the world, and they're using Iran as scapegoats. He's been telling us all about how our military is trying to take over the Middle East one state at a time. And our people, they just get up and walk out on them. Well, you know what, folks? The UN's turning into a big dog with no teeth. That's right, folks. Just one big dog. Woof, 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 woof. Woof, 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 woof. But they have no teeth. All they're going to do is slobber all over you. Blah, blah, blah. Well, you're bad. Blah, blah. And oh, blah, 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 sanctions. Well, you know what? The old leader of the UN quit because of the serious stuff, because the UN was completely useless. And now we got some new leader, but who the hell knows who he is? And you think it's going to make a difference? Hell no. But anyway, so while Bobby and I were up at the UN building, we decided to stage a protest. That's right, folks. We'll stand up for your rights. And so let's take a look at how that protest went. Let's take a quick look at that. Oh, I hate you.
The United Nations. You guys are building a whole new building with our money. And that's because of the three cities that rule the world. The crown, the cross, and the sword. Inner city London is not part of London. It's not part of England.
Very cool, huh? That was pretty interesting. And I could tell that you could see we got our point across. Yes, we did, folks. Yes, we did. Well, anyway, it's football season. let's just get on to some good news, huh? And the 49ers are rocking, folks. They're rocking. They're going all the way to the Super Bowl. I predict that now, today in September, that in February, the Niners are going to be there. They beat Green Bay in their first game, and they're just doing terrific, and it's just a wonderful thing. Oh, yeah, and you Raider fans, well, guess what? You still have every reason to be pissed off and to get in fights with everybody because they're going to suck ass like they have the last few years. They're just going to suck. And so you guys get pissed off, beat up people in the parking lot, do your duty because you guys all suck ass. Anyway, well, not all of you, but, you know, look at this guy. Come on. I mean, really. Well, the news today, folks, is that we did it again. We released a YouTube video that got out into the world, and now the terrorists are pissed off again. We seem to manage to piss off the Muslim world every 6 months, and we don't do something stupid like burning the Quran or pissing on the Quran or doing something stupid. Well, this jackass down in LA thinks he's funny and does this thing about Muhammad. And oh God, everybody's pissed off now. We got to kill people in Libya. We got to kill people in Egypt. The Muslims are pissed at the Americans. And it's all because of a YouTube video. No, wait a minute. If I remember right, South Park did something along these lines a few years ago where they said, oh boy, we're just going to piss off everybody. And, you know, that was pretty funny. I mean, look at Osama here, Uncle Osama USA. And so, you know, they do this for a reason, folks. We've got to be pissed at the Muslims, so the Muslims will be pissed at us, so we'll be more pissed at them, so they'll get more pissed at us. And believe me, folks, it's not going to end until we stop getting pissed. And those poor people over there, you know, come on. It's a joke, folks. It's a joke. We're not like that. I'm not like that, and nobody here is like that. So get over it, okay? Anyway, I got some great stuff ahead of us tonight. I've got Lynn Miller, who's the new executive director of Community TV here tonight. We also have a new little segment called The History of America, Part 1. That'll be pretty funny, and Uncle Spunky. So anyway, stay tuned. Well, hey there, folks. Here I am with the new executive director of Community TV, Mr. Lynn Miller. Lynn, thank you so much for taking time to be on our show.
Certainly welcome.
Now, this probably isn't your normal everyday show that you've been on, but we tried to make the best of it and try to have fun with it. So,
I'm on.
Lynn, just take a second and tell us a little bit about yourself. You're pretty new here, at least new to Community TV.
I am new to Community TV. I'm not new to the community. I've worked here and lived here since 1964.
Oh, okay.
I worked for the county for 37 years, leaving there as director of child support. I've been back to the county helping them out ever since I've retired, and I've also worked for a couple of nonprofits in my career. Phoenix Services in Watsonville, a drug alcohol program, Latino-based. And I worked for McDowell Youth Homes as their director for a while.
Wow, that's a vast background. What made you end up coming here to Community TV out of all that?
Well, I love this community, and I support Community TV. And when I was made aware of this, I thought maybe I could offer something. Like I say, I've worked with the county for a long time, so I know the county, how it works. I've worked in nonprofits, so I thought maybe I could help Community TV get through what I call a kind of a turbulent time.
Well, turbulent is probably the understatement of the year from what I've been gathering and what the papers have been saying. You know, there's a lot of doomsday predictions going around that Community TV is going to end in a couple of years. What's your take on that?
Well, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to end, but it means that everybody's going to have to work in the same direction to make sure that we stabilize the funding and find actually new funding. Funding that most nonprofits, community television is a nonprofit, most nonprofits have always built their budgets based on at least a third of their money coming in from either getting support systems like businesses, or they have contributors that contribute on an annual basis. It'll be something new for Community TV, and then we have to find ways to have economic scale. We have to have a larger scale, so it might mean working with others to make sure that our administrative costs are lowered so that we can keep the actual, where the rubber meets the road going.
So how's the funding work right now? We get so much money from cable companies. About what's the percentages from government?
Well, the largest percentage is from PEG fees, which are paid for by taxes by the public. And that's how community TV gets their money, from those PEG fees. Those are designated by the county and by the city jurisdictions. We also serve the city of Santa Cruz, Capitol, and Watsonville. So we have contracts with all three of those city jurisdictions and the county. And the money comes in large portion from the county.
Okay, so then what's actually changing?
Well, what's changing is not the amount of money, but the way in which we can spend it. The amount of money will continue to be approximately the same, given that what we currently have. But the money is now put in what I call silos. And there's one silo, which is your fixed assets, your capitalization, and those kinds of things. That's separate from your salaries and benefits for the staff that work here. The money cannot transfer over after 2014, July of 2014. You cannot use the PEG money for salaries and benefits, except for a small portion for maintenance of equipment. So we have to think differently. We know we'll have more money, so we'll have more equipment and more fixed assets, but we have to find a way to make sure that we keep staff on board and keep the trainings going that we do, the productions that we do, and the kinds of things that make a difference to the community. You need staff to do that.
Well, I was just up at the Art Institute in San Francisco, and they have a state-of-the-art video recording, film, audio classes, the whole thing, even down to cooking shows. And they're bringing in a huge revenue from the students, and they're able to pay for their faculty and everything from tuition fees. Now, that was one of the suggestions I brought up to our board of directors, was taking this in that type of direction where we get the money, use it to upgrade our facilities, and then charge a little more in tuition to keep the staff running. What's your plan? What do you?
I'm not sure how San Francisco works. I suspect they're accredited, so they probably get grants from people get Pell grants and can do that.
Able tuition loans, student loans.
Student loans, yeah, Pell grants. I have not thought about that. That's the first time I've heard that. So
We'll definitely discuss it more.
We certainly will. It intrigues me.
And here, while we're thinking about it, I can show you 4 other places around the country that have done this and have been extremely successful. So we'll talk about them more off the air when we get a chance. But that was one of my things. So what kind of thing do you see happening?
Well, of course, the board will make the final decision on how we move forward. But I think some of the things that the board's been looking at, and in good faith having conversations with other regional community televisions in terms of, and specifically CMAP, about what they're doing and looking at ways that we might cut some of the overhead costs by working together, have, if you will, a regional partnership. And I think that has a lot of merit. Local fire departments have done that in order to save overhead. Other county jurisdictions and city jurisdictions have looked for ways to, as for example, our county of Santa Cruz currently has their child support as a regional operation. The director of Santa Cruz is also director of San Benito. It's the same with our 911 system. We actually provide the system of 911 for San Benito through Santa Cruz's operation. So it's not unheard of. It's just how you work that out, how you fashion it, how you work out a memorandum of understanding that keeps Santa Cruz uniqueness in that mix.
Well, CMAP, for those of you that don't know, is the community TV in Gilroy. And we had quite a few discussions about that, and I'm kind of mixed on my feelings on that. I don't want to get into any of the details, but I would be more in support of that if we had Monterey, say, on board with that merger. So we had the whole Central Coast
let me be clear. I'm not really using the term merger, because merger has more of a legal ramification to it and a much larger. I would like to see something, what I would characterize as, and again, this is not my decision, this is something I may be recommending to the board, but I would like to see something more around the regional partnership, and I would hope that Monterey would come on at some point in time.
I would see it as a wonderful thing if we could get the whole Central Coast sharing expertise, equipment. I know the whole reason Gilroy wants to join with us is to be able to use our beautiful truck.
Well, that could be one reason. I don't believe that's all of the reason. Yeah, that's not the only reason.
I saw the faces.
Well, it's pretty attractive vehicle.
I did, and I got to see it at the fair, which was an amazing event, and that we were out there covering that.
Absolutely.
And speaking of events, then, what kinds of things we got coming up over the next couple months?
Well, the one we're dealing with immediately, of course, is the city of Santa Cruz's issue around the Warriors' new facility and where that's going to go.
I'm a huge supporter of. I told the mayor that, and just about anybody I can get in ears reach, that this is a great thing for Santa Cruz if we can pull that rabbit out of the hat.
Well,
now, do you think Community TV might be able to get the broadcasting contract for that?
Well, I don't know, but it's certainly something we'll be looking into. And then, of course, we've got the big one, is the elections coming up.
Now, what are we going to do for that this year? I know in years past we've done all kinds of crazy things. What do you got up your sleeve?
Well, we're going to be contacting those that are interested to participate and get the message out, their points of view. We want to be strongly engaged in the elections. We strongly believe in them, and community television's always been very supportive, staying down at the election center during the collecting of votes.
Yeah, I think the last big one, we actually did a live broadcast from here and over at Tampico and a couple other locations.
I believe we did.
Which was a fabulous event that was really well done, and big kudos to Mark and Emery for doing that back in the day.
Did a great job.
Terrific. Well, what's up then? We got this big thing with the board of supervisors here in the county, and they're pretty much the ones that are holding our fate in their hands. And
we're kind of holding our fate in our hands. So I think it's a combination. The county wants to see and feel comfortable that we know what we're doing when we say we're going to do it, and getting information to them in a timely manner. We do go back to the board October 23rd. Our board will be, the CTV board will be meeting in September and making decisions that we'll be reporting back to the Board of Supervisors on the 23rd.
Perfect. Well, I know we had our big vote here. The members gave up all their voting rights so the board can run with this, which was supposed to satisfy the Board of Supervisors. But now I'm kind of feeling that we did all that, and the Board of Supervisors might still go on with the bid process.
I think what the Board of Supervisors, in all fairness to them, were just looking for something that seemed a little more concrete. And I think actually we were so engaged in making sure that our membership had their vote, that's been our concentration. But now we have to be able to say to the board, we have a plan. This is our plan. We have two things happening. One is that we've got DFCA starting in July of 2014. Meanwhile, we've got our contract is due the end of this fiscal year. So we're addressing two issues. So I want to be clear that they're kind of separate issues, although right now they tend to mix. The board just wants to feel comfortable that CTV will look at this in terms of DFCA and find ways to make it work for 2014. And so we got to roll up our sleeves and do that.
Well, I'm sure glad we got you here to help us get through all this, All right, folks, let's get on with the show, huh? We got a little skit about the history of America, part 1. This ought to be pretty interesting, and we're going to wrap it up with Uncle Spunky, so stay tuned. Your Majesty, you summoned me?
That's correct. I have a special project for you.
For me? Well, I am honored. What is your wish, Your Honor?
I want you to go to that new place, America.
America? What's America?
They have many riches over there that we're all going to share.
Share? Well, what do I have to do?
You just get on that boat down in the harbor, and you sail over there real quick. It won't take you very long at all.
Yeah, but my wife is doing good in her bakery, and my daughter, she's attending the Skull and Crossbones University.
They will love it there. There's a great nightlife, quite a great nightlife over there.
But what if I say no, Your Majesty? Honor, what if I can't do this?
Well, then I will have to put you in prison and kill your wife and take your daughter for myself.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thanks, Your Majesty, thanks. I guess I'll send you a Thanksgiving postcard.
Okay, be gone now. Be gone.
Yeah, well, hey, folks, Uncle Spunky Chunky Chili here, and you know what really pisses me off this week, folks? Bugs. That's right, folks, bugs. I got stung by a yellow jacket today, and my arm's on fire, and it's swelling up, and it's fucked. It hurts really bad, and that goddamn yellow jacket, I didn't do anything to it. Why did it have to go and bite me, man? I tell you. Well, you know what? The other day, folks, I'm sitting there on my patio reading this book, and this spider comes walking along like it's gonna come and eat me. Well, guess what, folks? They got these bugs, man. I don't know what the hell it was. It looked like a big black fly that flew down and landed on the spider and started sticking it with a needle, man. It was like a bee, and it was stinging this poor spider, and the spider died, and it was like, I'm dying here, And you know what happened, folks? That little fly walked around a couple times, and it stuck a straw out of its head and started sucking out the guts of the spider. Well, you know what? How many times does the fly eat the spider, huh? My stories are getting a little confused, and I was like freaking out, and it's like, what the hell is this bug? Well, you know what's causing that shit, folks? It's all this spraying crap. And you know, you people here are lucky in Santa Cruz because you got no moths this year. Ha ha, no moths, no spraying. But everybody else has these mosquitoes, and they're saying West Nile virus is deadlier than ever. So we better start giving the chemical companies some more money so they can start spraying and spraying some more and spending a lot of money and spraying. And yeah, well, and then we start getting these mutated bugs that start eating the shit out of you instead of just sucking your blood, and you get all kinds of diseases and die. Well, isn't that just wonderful, folks? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I've had enough of this spraying shit, you know. Why can't we just leave the bugs alone and let the spiders eat the bugs like it used to be? Anyway, I've had enough of this spraying and the bugs, and they all suck, and good night.